what have you been told about what you might experience on the way back downhill if, in fact, you end up in a ballistic reentry, either by your crewmates or trainers?
Well, through the simulations we do in training, we simulate every nominal and every off-nominal, situation that is theorized or has happened before. And plus, as part of my medical workup, I've even simulated ballistic reentries in the centrifuge a good number of times at this point. So I think that even if we were to have a ballistic reentry, it is something that, of course, I'll tolerate well, but I also don't think would alarm me in any way. But again, I have every confidence that the things that have been done have very good odds of rectifying that probability in the first place.
Thanks. Just a quick follow, if I could. Could you tell us what your sensations were when you were simulating a ballistic reentry in the centrifuge? Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny when you sit in a centrifuge and spin it up to 3 or 4 Gs. 2.5 to 3.5 Gs is about what you get on a roller coaster. So that doesn't feel particularly unusual. Once you go past about 4 or 5 and get up to about 6 Gs, that becomes the point where it's interesting. The first time I did it, I intended to just lift my hand up and put it in front of me just to see at how many Gs I could continue to reach out to an instrument panel, for example. And once we got up to 7 or 8 Gs, your chest becomes the front of your chest becomes so heavy that really takes your attention. And I quit lifting my hand, not because I couldn't, but because I neglected to think about it anymore. Instead, I was thinking about breathing. But even all the way up to about 9 Gs, you can actually breathe fine as long as you breathe through your diaphragm, so to speak, and you breathe a little bit more shallow than you would otherwise. But now that I've done it 2 or 3 times and know what to expect, again, it wouldn't alarm me. It would just be, and as you probably know, ballistic reentries were the normal mode of reentry for everything from Apollo and a lot of the early Soyuz. So it's nothing that others haven't experienced many times before.
Station, this is KSCPAO. That's the final question here from Florida. We're now going to toss you briefly back to Houston for a few additional questions.
Thank you. It's Mark Carreau from the Houston Chronicle again for Greg Shamatoff. Could you kind of discuss what's at the top of your to-do list for the rest of your stay, and are you feeling pretty confident you'll be back by the end of November?
Well, we've done a lot of work, as Mike said earlier, preparing for ULF-2, rearranging the racks to prepare for equipment that's coming up on ULF-2 that's going to make it possible for a crew of 6 to be on the station. And that's going to be the majority of our focus, I think, from here on, while I'm here, is going to be on installing those racks, helping the ULF-2 crew as much as we possibly can to make sure that everything they're bringing up here gets offloaded and installed correctly, making sure that the way is clear and everything is set up right for that, and there's still some work to do that. Also preparing for their spacewalks, and for me, there's several different science experiments that I'm involved in that I would like to finish up. It's nice to see things from beginning to end, and there's several experiments that I was here to see the beginning, and would like to see the final runs done, and that just for my own sake to see certain things completed. So and there's some personal things I think Mike and I have been talking about, taking some video. There's being up here by myself. Of course, with taking some video. Jam and Columbus on my own. It's hard to take pictures at the same time as doing the work, and so it'll be nice for us to take a few extra videos that also the ground enjoys seeing of us doing the work that we're doing up here. So but we're really looking forward to the ULF-2 crew. It's been wonderful for us to have a crew of 6 all of a sudden. We've gone for 4.5 months, the 3 of us, and it's very exciting to have a full complement up here. We get the feeling of what it's going to be like like when the station hosts a crew of 6 full-time, because this is exactly the way it would be all the time. And it feels very productive when there's a large crew up here. So looking forward to ULF2, and I expect that they're going to launch on time. There's a large window there that they have to work with for getting up here in late November, and I really look forward to getting back and seeing my family.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thanks, guys.
And good job to you, ACR, and thanks for the event.
Thank you, media at NASA centers. Station, we're now resuming operational space-to-ground comm.
Mirror